Hi, my name is Miranda Mizar, and this is my presentation on mercury poisoning in aquatic environments. To begin, the main question is, what is mercury? As far as the chemical element of mercury, it is with atomic number of 80, which means there are 80 protons and 80 electrons in the atomic structure. The chemical symbol for mercury is Hg. The atom consists of a small but massive nucleus surrounded by a cloud of rapidly moving electrons. The nucleus is composed of protons and neutrons. Mercury is a metal that is naturally occurring and is found primarily in cinnabar. Cinnabar is a toxic mercury sulfide mineral and contains up to 86% mercury. Cinnabar is the most common ore of oxidized mercury found in nature. Occurs in granular crusts or veins associated with volcanic activity and even hot springs. The next question is, where does mercury come from? It comes from two main sources. The first is a natural source. So, for example, soil. Microscopic organisms in water and soil can convert elemental and inorganic mercury into an organic mercury compound, which is methylmercury, which accumulates in the food chain. It can be found in rocks. It's a geochemical cycle, starts with volcanic activity as magma invades sedimentary rocks. Mercury vapors and compounds rise towards the surface, condensing in porous rocks known as cinnabar, which we just discussed. And even volcanic activity. Mercury is released when volcanoes erupt and spew matter into the atmosphere. After some time, mercury makes its way back down to the surface and can cause major problems within an environment. The second source is from man-made. For example, burning coal, medical waste, and manufacturing chemicals. When coal is burned in a power plant, the mercury that is present in it is released through the smokestacks as a gas and dilutes as it travels back into either soils or into water sources as well. So, what is methylmercury? After mercury is released, it can be formed into a highly biologically toxic form known as methylmercury. It is found in soil and different aquatic environments. Due to the formation, mercury can become extremely poisonous. How does it affect other living things? It can be absorbed by touch, inhalation, or even ingestion. So not only are we at risk of mercury poisoning, so are other living organisms in the environment. This element is a global pollutant, so it's not just localized to one area. This is because it is a potent neurotoxin that affects fish, wildlife, and humans. So the main question here today is, how does it affect the fish? So in marine fish, exposure to mercury can lead to reduced liver function and metabolism, altered behavior, impaired reproduction, deformity, damage to the gills and olfaction organs, and mortality. So it has a major effect on the aquatic life. So what happens to mercury once it's moved? Or how is it moved? Rain and snow wash mercury out of the environment into oceans, lakes, and rivers. In water, mercury becomes its most toxic form, which we just spoke about, which is the methylmercury. Fish species eat organisms that are filled with the methylmercury and then continue to eat smaller fish going all the way up the food chain. So, how is methylmercury able to hurt other living things? Methylmercury can cross biological membranes and can build harmful concentrations. This causes a chain reaction, as I said before. The small fish eat the mercury-filled organisms, then they'll eat other small fish, causing the mercury levels to skyrocket in the larger fish or the predators. Throughout the presentation, we're always talking about the chain. So this is an example of how mercury is moved up through the food chain, which is causing issues with the fish. So things from the example coal plants, the mercury was released through the atmosphere, then it is turned into methylmercury, which is obtained by the smaller organisms. which is eaten by the smallest fish, then your semi-larger fish, and then your full-on predator fish. So once the amount of mercury is so high and it causes all these physical damages, it'll cause an increase in deaths in the fish, causing them to wash up on the shore. And if people are fishing from these areas and eating them, consuming them, they are also at risk of getting mercury poisoning. It does take longer, though, for people to obtain mercury poisoning, but it is possible and can lead to many harmful symptoms and even death.